Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast Combat Sports. I'm your host, Frank Palumbo, and this is the MMA and Wrestling podcast for Northern New York and Vermont and the surrounding areas. As I record this today, it's Tuesday, June 7th, and coming off the weekend is UFC 199 and Extreme Combat Barrie, Vermont. So I'm going to just recap those a little bit. Plus, I'm going to give you my opinion on some of the other news that has come down since the weekend. This past weekend, starting with Extreme Combat, Barrie beat down big winners. Eric Knowles, UFAI, wins with a first-round guillotine. That was a middleweight bout, 185. The co-main event was a female flyweight bout. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, although both fighters weighed in. Missy Trahan did not show. Tried to get a late-minute replacement. Didn't happen. Main event, Joe LaChapelle, UFAI, he wins at bantamweight, defeating Napoleon Meth. And in the grappling main event was Lane Bizel retaining his Xcp grappling championship against Ali Abdulzarak from UFAI with a first-round front choke. Well, only round, I guess. 1 10-minute period. So congratulations to Lane Bizel. Oos. And Extreme Combat comes back July 2nd. Battle at the Bay, St. Albans. Main event, Alex Walker and Kat Fortier-Rooney. Also on the card, Conor McKenna. He's got a heavyweight bout. Zach Ayotte finally getting back in the cage. Nathan Booten at heavyweight. Some buzz about Nathan. Amber Devlin and Cynthia Tarrant. That's a atomweight, 105-pound women's fight. Richard Walker and Brad Abert, among others. And of course, Saturday night, I got to talk a little bit about UFC. So the fight of the night was the very first Fight Pass prelim. Polo Reyes, Dong Yeon Kim. I got to admit, I didn't see it. I know that it was a knockout, a third-round knockout, but first fight of the night with 2 championships on the line, and the very first Fight Pass prelim is the fight of the night. You know, definitely on my list. Undercard, Fox Sports undercard. Alex Caceres beats Cole Miller. Cole Miller had like a rotating door of opponents. It was supposed to be BJ Penn, and then I think there was somebody else in there, and they dropped, and Alex Caceres comes in. Alex Caceres is the kid, I can't remember what season he was on of Ultimate Fighter, but he went by Bruce Leroy. He came out in the yellow jumpsuit. You know, he's had some buzz, but he's not quite as good as what we saw in that very first fight. But entertaining. So Jessica Penne gets TKO'd by Jessica Andrade. So that's going to shake up that division a little bit, because Jessica Penne, she just came off a title challenge. So that 115-pound women's division is getting shaken up. Clay Guida returned. Yeah, he's still fighting. He got knocked out with like 15 seconds left in the fight. Brian Ortega defeats him. A very, very good fight. Guida was not as active as he used to be, but Ortega kind of made up the difference there. He was winning, and he wound up landing a knee as Guida went in for a shot. So very, very well-placed knee. The next bout was the first main card was Dustin Poirier. He beats Bobby Green. Bobby Green was taunting him with his hands down, and Poirier just unloaded on him and dropped him. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. So that came about 3 minutes into the fight, first round. Then Dan Henderson, he beats Hector Lombard in the second round after he got rocked in the first, and it was all downhill up until he landed a head kick, followed it up with a back elbow. I mean, you can only make this stuff up. You can't practice that. And then just drop some elbows, Bisping style, like when he landed that forearm on Bisping years back. I think that was like 2010, to finish Hector Lombard. So then the feature bout was Max Holloway. He earns a 3-round decision, 30-27 across the board against Ricardo Lamas. Now, Ricardo Lamas is a former title challenger. He lost to Jose Aldo in his title fight. And he hung in tough because Holloway was outclassing him but was unable to put him away. And when he did go in for it, Ricardo Lamas was returning some heat, so that kind of kept Holloway off up until the last 10 seconds when they just stood in the center of the cage and just agreed to just slug it out. And it was quite the little mini battle there with some nuclear bombs getting thrown. Nobody got dropped in that last 10 seconds, but it was a very cool ending to that fight. So then the first title fight, we move on to the co-main event. Dominic Cruz outclassed Uriah Faber across the board. Unanimous decision, 5 rounds. And I'll tell you, with the pace of the first round, I didn't think it was going to go the distance, but it did. And Cruz tried to finish him here and there, but Uriah Faber hung in strong. I would like to see a little more wrestling out of him. But, what's next for Faber? That's the big question mark. Is he going to hang on and kind of wait for that TJ Dillashaw fight, or is he going to kind of fade away? At a competition anyway, I think he's got the personality where he'll always be in front of the camera, but maybe not in the octagon, but who knows? And considering he's only lost one fight in his career that was not a title fight, he lost to Frankie Edgar about 6 months ago in a featherweight bout. He's been competing at bantamweight for a number of years here. I think his entire UFC career has been at bantamweight, although he was a featherweight champion for WEC before UFC absorbed them and brought them up. So we don't know what's next for Faber. And that brings us to the main event. Michael Bisping challenging Luke Rockhold for the middleweight championship, the one that Anderson Silva held for many, many years. And you could see that Rockhold was taking his time, wasn't really throwing those kicks, and of course he alluded to a knee injury, so you know that's going to affect things. If he's not throwing his best attack, which is his body kicks, what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? And of course we all know now, Bisping, with his very much improved boxing over the last year, was able to hurt Rockhold, knock him down again, and then finish him off up against the cage. So, I mean, what an incredible reaction to winning that championship. Very, very genuine. I loved it. I loved it up until that post-fight press conference when Bisping really started to set in on Rockhold, and they really went at it. Definitely not a manufactured hatred between these guys, and it just got amplified big time because Bisping was a bit of a sore winner there. He really threw it in Rockhold's face. Considering this was one fight apiece, Rockhold finished Bisping, and now Bisping finished Rockhold, there will very likely be a rubber match in the future, but you never know when. Now, if you haven't watched that post-fight press conference, Rockhold started things off before Bisping got there by saying, yeah, he really showed his true colors. He starts asking me like, oh yeah, you know where you are? After he got knocked out, and he's kind of standing back up. Bisping goes over, oh man, do you know where you are? So he's kind of taunting him a little bit. And Rockhold said something like, I really want to kill him. If he was here, I'd want to kill him right now. So then every time anybody said anything, Bisping would hold the belt up and say, well, you just got knocked out in the first round. You're not fighting anytime soon. You got a 60-day suspension. You just got knocked out. And man, it went on, and Bisping was sitting there drinking a beer the whole time, which just made it so much better. But I will say that it was a lot sweeter when he was a humble winner and not a cocky champion. So, I didn't like Bisping at first when he was young in his career. Then I really started to like him around the time he fought Chael, and he lost to Chael. And now, I could kind of take him or leave him at this point. I'm really, really happy for him winning the championship, considering everybody he lost to, it was that title eliminator, and he lost to a guy who had at some point popped for banned substances. So to see him win the championship was very, very gratifying as a fan. And I'm one of those guys where when I hear about people popping for PEDs and steroids, I really don't care. But now that there's a guy like Bisping who has lost to people who've popped for PEDs, it's just a really nice thing to see somebody that we're pretty sure he was never on anything, any banned substances, and he's now the champion. So that's a cool thing. I like that. I'm very happy for Bisping. And I kind of can't wait to see him get beat now. But the thing that Bisping's got now is everybody wants to see him fight again because they're pretty sure he's going to lose. So any win from here on out is bonus points. And let's see. Upcoming UFC. So the next UFC is going to be a Fox Sports 1 event. It's going to be Rory McDonald versus Stephen Thompson. Wonder Boy Thompson. This is the guy that knocked out Johnny Hendricks in the first round with a barrage of kicks. And he threw kicks often and with bad intentions. He landed lots of them, and he put Johnny Hendricks away. I mean, he looked like he didn't know what the hell hit him. And real quick, I'll go through the rest of that card. This one takes place in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And let's see, we've got also the co-main event is Cerrone and Patrick Cote. Is it Cote? Who the hell is that? Yeah, Patrick Cote, the Predator. Then we got, let's see, Albin Mercier versus Gowdy. Mercier, he's got ties with the H2O gym that Reginbald is out of, and also TriStar. Then at women's 115-pound, we have Valerie Letourneau and Joanne Calderwood. Who else is on this? Elias Theodoro versus Alvey. Sam Alvey, Smiling Sam. Now, Sam Alvey is a slow starter, but he's got power in both hands. Ronda Marcos is fighting against Jones Liebarger, who I think she's relatively new to the UFC. There's Jones Liebarger, but if it's who I remember, I believe I watched her fight. She's very, very good and dangerous. Ronda Marcos has just got a motor. Hey, just a little interesting note here. I'm reading this card right off of UFC.com, and there's a little asterisk that says fights are verbally agreed upon, and card may change at any time. Some fights may not be broadcast. That's kind of interesting. Fights are verbally agreed upon. Hey, must be nice to run business that way. So that card, Saturday, June 18th, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I think on our local circuit, we may not have anything that weekend. What is that, 2 weeks from now? Not this weekend. This weekend is the 11th. And then is the following weekend. Man, I wonder if I can get tickets. Okay, this weekend we have got, I think, 2 local cards this weekend. Let me pull up my calendar here. Upcoming events. We've got CP Barry. Take that one off. We got Colosseum Fighting Alliance, June 11th, Latham, New York. And we have Whitehall Athletic Club. Andre Balcaris is fighting this weekend for Bantamweight Championship, I believe. Andre's got belts in so many freaking weight classes, I can't even keep it straight. So that goes down this weekend. And I'm going to see if I can get Garrett Roche and go through that Coliseum card. And, hey, maybe I'll touch base with Andre, too. Now, if you're not up on this, Andre just won the Featherweight Championship for Victory Cage Fighting Championships in Watertown. And what an event. Now, that is a nice amateur title to have on your resume. So, again, congratulations to Andre. That video is on his Facebook page. Check it out. Very nice knockout. Oh, man. I mean, makes it look easy. Andre, was that a walk-off knockout? Did you walk away after you hit him? Okay, so a little bit of news. I mean, what a weekend we got. We got some crazy stuff happening. First, we get word Muhammad Ali passes away. Holy crap. Hey, he's been quiet for a couple of years, so, hopefully that was one of those passings that, the man had so many accomplishments that, it's almost okay. It's not like when a young person dies or somebody in the middle of their career and they don't reach their potential. The man lived his life. So I hope that the family was okay with that passing. Then over the weekend, I'm driving home from watching the pay-per-view, and I'm checking my phone, and you got Ariel Helwani gets a lifetime ban from the UFC which, I don't know, as of a couple hours ago from me recording this, that ban was lifted. So what the hell is going on there? This afternoon was the MMA Hour, the Mixed Martial Arts Hour, which is actually a 3-hour podcast that Ariel Helwani hosts. That just dropped. I haven't even clicked on that yet. And that's a 3-hour show I got to listen to. But I want to find out what the hell happened there. The other thing I get on the way home from work tonight was Kimbo Slice passes away. Got brought to the hospital, and he has passed away. So it's like, what the hell is going on? Cardiac issues? Hey, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say drug and alcohol abuse, drug and alcohol involvement. I mean, even when he's headlining a Bellator card on Spike, he don't look like he's in the greatest shape. So, who the hell knows? But I think there'll be a lot more that comes out on this. Of course there is. I mean, it just dropped a little while ago. But, you had his opponent, Dada 5000, cardiac issues during and after the fight. Kimbo Slice, cardiac issues during and after the fight. Well, after the fight now, but what about during the fight? I mean, that's a question mark. Who knows? Popped for an illegal banned substance after that fight. I think he was technically suspended. He was on suspension from mixed martial arts. So just considering Kimbo is going to be all over your Facebook page for the next couple of days, if not weeks, I'll throw out my opinion here. Kimbo Slice was a good fighter who looked exceptional in his videos and, well, pretty much just his videos. I mean, when he came in to mixed martial arts, he was really exposed as being one-dimensional and really not all that good against other trained fighters. But if you think about his skill level, you might say it's comparable to a good amateur fighter. Maybe not even that good of an amateur fighter, but this guy was able to get himself into the UFC, win a UFC fight, headline a Bellator card, Elite XC, network television, main event. How many amateur fighters who are, in the grand scheme of things, not that good? If you're going to compare against world championship fighters, what would you say the average amateur fighter measures up? I don't know, I would say not that good compared to a world championship fighter. But if you ask any of these amateur fighters if they would headline a Bellator on Spike, make $500,000, ain't nobody going to say no to that. I mean, this guy was able to do it. So you really can't hold too much against him. Maybe he's not that good of a fighter, but he made me turn the TV on. So I guess in that respect, he earned his money. And I'm going to close out on Brock Lesnar's return to UFC 200. I thought that trailer was awesome. Okay, you see John Jones in a car. He's dressed up. And I kind of laughed when his driver gets out and opens the door for him. But then you see Cormier. He arrives in a limo. And then he's warming up. You see Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo warming up. You see Misha Tate warming up, and then they're all walking out to the fight, and it really brings you in. I'm like, oh man, this trailer's awesome. And then all of a sudden I see Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like, that was a freaking cool trailer. And they're like, yep, opponent to be determined, or to be announced. And now we know that it's Mark Hunt. I mean, this has got to be the worst freaking matchup because he's going to hit Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's going to sleep. Let me tell you, I'm putting my money on Lesnar because he's got to be such a freaking underdog that, I mean, you can't bet. You can't bet against him. You got to bet the underdog. There's no way Hunt is not going to hit Lesnar. And when he does, Lesnar's going to crumble. I feel like this is really just for the UFC. This is not really for the fans. Because I don't think that mixed martial arts fans want to see Brock Lesnar in the octagon. I mean, maybe we want to see him get beat, and in that way they might be giving us what we want. But this is basically so that UFC 200 can match or do more than UFC 100. And I think the buys were $1.5 million for UFC 100. So this is kind of their way to bump up their product. Now, by the way, here's a little trivia. There are 3 title fights on this card, UFC 200. There's Edgar Aldo for the interim featherweight. So Miesha Tate is defending her belt against Amanda Nunes. And by the way, let me get back to her boyfriend, who I discredited in my last episode, Caraway. I'll get back to him shortly, because I got an opinion on that too. Miesha Tate is going to be defending her title. And then, of course, we got Jones Cormier 2. So there's 3 title fights. Trivia. When was the last time that the UFC had 3 title fights on one card? No cheating. Hit me up on Facebook with that answer. Maybe I'll throw you a free t-shirt. When was the last time that the UFC had 3 title fights on one card? And what happened on that card? And I don't mean who won. What happened? Okay, what else? Caraway. Yes, Miesha Tate's boyfriend. The man who defeated Aljamain Sterling, who I'm very high on Aljamain Sterling. I think he's got it all. Probably needs a little bit of improvement on the striking. But man, did you see that full Nelson? Did you see that back take? I mean, he's a good freaking fighter. I really didn't think that he was going to get outlasted by Caraway, but he clearly did. Caraway showed some guts in that fight. Came back to edge the second round and really pulled away in the third round. Yeah, hats off to Caraway. First thing, I didn't know he was that good. Secondly, he's kind of in Miesha's shadow, but I think he's working way out of it. But I would say he's the big winner that night. Yeah, Cody Garbrandt gets the knockout in the main event. Caraway fights on Fight Pass. But I think he's the big winner because he's coming off a layoff. He gets a big win. He defeats Aljamain Sterling for the first time in his professional career, who is the highest-ranked bantamweight on that card. He's the highest-ranked fighter on that card, was Aljamain Sterling. Caraway beats him on Fight Pass. And the main reason why he's the big winner, because he gets to go home to Miesha Tate. And Miesha Tate is not just a pretty face. She's a freaking UFC champion. So, all types of respect to Caraway right now. Yeah, gotta eat my words on that one. I thought Aljamain Sterling was going to run away with it. And he was on his way to doing it. So after that first round, I was like, yep, that's pretty much what I expected. He's going to pull away further in the second and third round, if not finish him in the second. And Caraway comes back and really proved me wrong there. So there's some UFC news. Or not even news, just opinions on the whole thing. And what else? My beach tournament. In the works. Looking to hold it here in Plattsburgh. End of July. Not finalized yet. In the process. I'm hoping to have it finalized by the end of next week. And release a date and start inviting everybody to Plattsburgh. Now, beach wrestling. It's basically takedowns on the sand. Best out of 3. 3 points wins. You got a push-out rule. So you push them out, you get a point. Now it goes by points. Takedown to the back is worth 3 points. So if somebody takes you down, somebody pushes you out, you're down 2-0. You headlock them to their back, you win 3-2. That's it. Gonna have the kids going. Gonna have the high school age kids going. Gonna have an open division. Maybe even have a master's division. We'll have some weight classes. We'll have an absolute division. So if you win your weight class, then you go on the open weight. I don't know. Maybe even have a division for gi tops, because it's beach wrestling, but it's not technical wrestling. Beach wrestling is just throws, man. It's just throws. You got to be in shape for it. It's a nice day at the beach. So I got all kinds of ideas. I really want to have a nice event here. And by the way, this beach, right off the ferry from Burlington. It's down the road from the ferry. So what do you think about a gi top division? That way, if you're a judo player, you're a jiu-jitsu guy, I mean, you can't really pull guard, but hell, you got a gi, gi top division. What do you think of that? Guys, you can enter more than one division. We'll call your tournament to the circle, and we'll just whip through your tournament. First round, second round, finals, and that's it. That's a little bit of what I'm thinking here for this beach tournament. And if you need a picture, I'll put a video in the show notes of some beach wrestling tournaments. All you got to do is click on them, and you get the full picture. There'll be women's divisions, there'll be girl divisions, and if you want to go in and wrestle with the guys, you're more than welcome to. It's going to be on the sand, level playing field. This ain't on a mat. It's not, should I wear my sneakers or not? Everybody's going to be barefoot. It's going to be on the sand. So I've been going on here for probably about 30 minutes or so. And in the vein of Colosseum Fighting Alliance 2, that's happening this Saturday, June 11th, Latham, New York, ABC Sports Arena, I had an interview with Cory Reynolds, who is our 205-pound challenger. Unfortunately, had to withdraw. I don't want to reveal why. That will be up to him to reveal. But I'll say it's medical, it's legit. I spoke with Cory for a while here, getting an idea of who he is and where he comes from and why he fights and the things he had to get over in order to pursue this amateur fight career. And, he's a 2-2 fighter. He's got his first title shot, Colosseum Fighting Alliance. And, he's got a bout of bad luck here. So I'm gonna play a little bit of my interview with him. But I'm going to save the rest for when there's some more hype around this kid, because he's a very good fighter and he will be back. So I'm going to kind of hold on to him, but I'm going to release a little bit of it. So stay tuned, because I'm going to play a little bit of Cory Reynolds. And I'm about to hit dial here. Hello, is Cory there? Hey, Cory, Frank Palumbo.
How are you doing?
So how's things, man?
Things are going good. Staying busy here at work, training real hard, getting ready.
What's the day job?
I'm a grounds crew construction worker here we got a Little League baseball park down here by Cooperstown. And we run a 12 and under youth tournament of 48 teams a week. And yeah, I take care of all the grounds, building all the new buildings, mowing, weed whacking, pretty much you name it. I've got my hands into it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's always nice to work outdoors.
I actually got a kid on the way. I got another boy. He's due June 19th, week after the fight, Father's Day.
Yeah, I heard. Oh, that's Father's Day?
Yep, June 19th is Father's Day this year.
Garrett told me that you were fighting the week before the due date. So, yeah, I was going to ask all about it. You got a boy on the way?
Yep, little boy on the way. It's my second one. My first one's already in karate, loves combat sports, loves being a part of anything with that. So we got a few doing the making.
Good, man. Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's fun times. The boys love watching my fights. My son loves watching mine. She gets nervous, gets upset. She's hoping not to go into labor during this one. That's a big joke. We thought it'd be kind of cool to, if she went into labor and I win the title at this fight, I thought that'd be kind of special moment for everything.
From experience, if she goes into labor, you got a good 10 to 20 hours.
Yeah, before it comes, so.
And, do you have a name already, or is this something that, I know some parents kind of like to keep it on the down low?
Oh, for my son, the one coming?
Yeah.
We decided on Jacob Colton.
Cool. Is that a family name?
I just kind of like the name Jacob because I was partially religious and just it's a powerful name. Yeah. And I had a buddy that just committed suicide this past summer. And when I had met the girl I'm with now, it kind of, they all fell into play together. So as a kind of tribute to him and remembering him, because I was real close to him, I decided to give him the Colton name as something to remember him and honor him by.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It's all right, you know. That's why I love this MMA and, like, being a part of this sport is it's picked me up, and I have so many friends that have come to me, like, asking to get into it, to try and better themselves. You know, something proud to be, or be proud of something. I don't know what the words I'm looking for right now for, but growing, it's kind of what's keeping me sane and keeping me pushing. I take so much pride in the fact that I do it, and it's really uplifting for me.
Yeah, you know, when you get out in front of everybody, it really is, you know, a bit of a performance art.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's self-expression, and you really leave everything out there, and you're completely exposed to, you know, your opponent and everybody in, you know, in the crowd. So, I mean, it's really like the ultimate performing art, self-expression.
It's almost like I get high when I climb into that cage. You get such an adrenaline rush, and, you know, just you get amped up in such a way that it's a whole new high, and it's a whole new experience that you can't begin to put words to. See, I suffered from a real bad drug issue a few years ago, and it took me down a very bad and rocky road to the point where I was incarcerated. And I just, you hit that point, and you're like, I can't do this no more. I don't want to live this life no more. And then MMA came into my life, and things started to fall into place, started working more, and I couldn't ask for more of a blessing of a life right now.
Yeah, Garrett had mentioned that you had quite a story. I assume that's what he meant. So you say that you were you got into some trouble with it. You're incarcerated.
Yeah, I did. I was actually locked up for 2 years. I fell victim. Not victim. I made the choices to do the drugs. Well, I got part of the whole, you know, pill popping, taking the pills, the nasty drugs going around, and just MMA has just been able to pull me away from all those negative people and so many of that negative aspect of life. It's amazing. I can't speak. I can't say it enough how blessed I am to be able to be a part of such a great thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad to hear that. You know, you got things straight. You know, especially after, you know, you probably feel like you know, you hit rock bottom, and you know, you make that decision to just climb out.
I'm not ashamed of, like, what I've been through, you know, if there's any questions you want to ask, go right ahead. I'm not ashamed. I'm not here to hide anything. I'm here to be who I am. So I'm the same way. We grew up in small school. We send kids to section or states every year. So wrestling is instilled into our brains from the day we walk.
Yeah, what are you down in Section 4?
Oh, yep, Section 4.
Yeah, and Section 4 has just been so freaking tough over the last 15 years.
Yeah, we had a record, or we had a guy going to states. We've sent a guy to the states for the last 20 years straight or something like that from my school.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm ex-military, so I picked up a little, you know, of the jiu-jitsu and being able to tumble more through the military and some of the chokes. And
Is that how you got into mixed martial arts? Was through jiu-jitsu in the service?
Yep, that's part of it. That's what opened my eyes to the whole jiu-jitsu thing and experiencing all that and the fun that is.
Now, how about which branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Army. I was 21 Echo, a heavy equipment operator with engineers.
You enlist?
Yeah, I enlisted. I went in. That's kind of where the drugs and everything started to come into play. I got myself thrown out of there because of starting to do the stupid stuff, and that's where my whole wrong road started. And I'm now just calling out. So I didn't go overseas, unfortunately. There's a lot of, you know, inner battles I deal with on a daily basis, because I know guys that were in my squad that went over there that did get hit, and guys that took my truck lost parts of their body, and that's one of those things that I battle with, you know.
Yeah.
It's all part of life. It's all part of learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a question, because, you know, I know that you practice jiu-jitsu now, and you learned some You learned some in the Army. So what's the difference between, I don't know, what would it be, like combat jiu-jitsu that you might learn in the Army? Or was it like, say, Brazilian jiu-jitsu or like a Japanese jiu-jitsu?
The military, the jiu-jitsu, you can use the clothing, you know. There's more to grab hold of and work a body with your collar chokes and other sorts of just chokes and ways to get a hold of somebody as compared to without the clothes and the fighting. I'm going to keep it 100. Me and, a couple of my teammates, we don't get a chance to train. When we do our training, it's more of like a couple redneck boys sitting in the front yard trying new moves we see, practicing over and over and over again until we get comfortable with it. So we're not officially disciplined in the jiu-jitsu aspect, but that's what we strive for with our wrestling and jiu-jitsu. If that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you can practice jiu-jitsu techniques.
Yes.
Just like you practice, boxing techniques or combinations. It's just the execution that.
Yes.
Did you have a background in wrestling? Did you wrestle in high school?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. I was actually our heavyweight wrestler. I'd walk into school at 202 pounds, and by 5 o'clock at night, I'd be 218. So I'd be pounding water on the bus right there, step on the scale and go puke. I actually had a title fight for Next Level Fighting as a heavyweight just a couple months ago, and I gave up probably 60 pounds to the guy. It's just one of those things. I'm not afraid to step up in the weight or go down.
So there you have it. Cory Reynolds, Bainbridge, New York, Colosseum light heavyweight title challenger. And he's going to get that opportunity again in the near future. So keep an eye. Now that you know the name, keep an eye out for him. Find him on Facebook and follow him, because when he gets in the cage, you will see fireworks. He's a very good striker, and he has an entertaining style. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I want to talk a little bit about some bully videos that I watch on Facebook. I go on Facebook a lot. One of the things I really like is those bully videos where it says like a kid's getting picked on, and then, it turns out he knows like Muay Thai. There's another one that just dropped where this kid comes with a stiff right hand and then, transitions into like an arm bar. I mean, what a ridiculous arm bar he threw. That's a new one that's on Facebook. Who knows where these things originated, but I think they're very interesting. They're always fun to watch. So I'm going to Google right now. Well, not Google, Facebook. Search bully. Okay, here's one. The one I'm watching, Brandon Polcare shared it. Brandon's from Spa City, BJJ. So I got my sound down, right? It's about 1 minute and 20 seconds long. So kid's filming. He walks up. This kid kind of talking crap. Pushes him with his shoulder. All right, pushes him on the chest. Drops the bag. And here we go. Boom, right hand. Yeah, this kid knows how to fight. Left head kick. Takedown. Ground and pound. Kid gives up his back. And transitions to a flawless armbar from the back. Now I think the kid says, hey, get this kid off of me. I mean, I almost figure someone's going to come up and kick him in the head. But he pulls off the armbar. He lets go. He stands up. And the kid's still talking crap. And everybody's hugging him. And then the kid just got schooled, wants to fight some more. It's like, man, you got to cut your losses. Still talking. And video over. Everybody's watching and applauding. So I don't know. What do you guys think of these bully videos? I like watching them. And speaking of bullying, here's a name that got mentioned on my last podcast, the one where I was talking with my mom. My first in-person podcast where I just pulled out my phone, hit record, and just had a conversation. And usually what I do is I have a microphone set up, I do a phone call, and I record both. But this one, so the audio is going to be different on episode 13 than it is on, say, this one. So I was talking to my mom. And we were talking about, just famous fighters, seeing if she knows them. So most people she didn't know. I think the only person she knew was Ronda. But a name got brought up, which is Tom Murphy. And I lead into this because he has an anti-bullying campaign called Sweethearts and Heroes. And he literally goes nationwide, visits every school in the area, and delivers this anti-bullying message. And if you've ever met Tom, he's just about the best kind of person you could ever meet. And I think Tom is now doing another monthly challenge. Let's see what Tom is up to on Facebook here. Now, he and Jason Spector are partners in Sweethearts and Heroes. Now, I met Tom my first year in Brockport when he was a senior and I was just an incoming freshman. And when I moved up to Plattsburgh, I somehow got the word that he was in St. Albans. And then I started going over to Rail City MMA. And, when I was in camp, I'd really try and get there about twice a week. And, what a great guy Tom is. Okay, he'll be doing a 98-day challenge this year. I would love for people to join in. Who's in? All you have to do is eliminate the 7 C's from Memorial Day, May 30th, to Labor Day, September 5th. The challenge is free. What are the 7 C's? Cake, chips, candy, cookies, cola, chocolate. And, well, that's only 6. And no complaining. So complaining is the last C. Please get your family and friends involved too. I have done this for 5 years, and the benefits and rewards are endless. Yeah, I'm really not big on many of. I think for me, candy is the worst. I really don't drink that much cola or soda. Yeah, I guess I am not going to turn down chocolate, but complaining will probably be the hardest thing for me. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up right here. It's very early Thursday morning, about 3:15 a.m. I'm about to put this all together, wrap it up, and post it. And I got to say, pretty good mood. Just found out a couple hours ago, thanks to the one and only Chael Sonnen, I have come into 2 tickets to World Series of Fighting 31 at Foxwoods Casino next weekend, Friday the 17th. But I just want to give a quick shout out to World Series of Fighting and Chael Sonnen. Guys, thank you very much. Chael, once again, a fan for life. And I will say, became a Chael fan right before the Anderson fight. Had no idea who he was. But once I heard him say, I'm going to throw him on his back and punch a hole in his face, instantly became a fan. And then you see the Ariel Helwani interview, and it's like the animated adventures of Chael Sonnen. And oh my God, that was hilarious. The things that came out of his mouth, I had never heard them before. Never heard somebody speak that way about Brazilian fighters. Big Chael fan. I pretty much love everything he does. Little plug there for Chael. Go to badguyinc.com. Get a t-shirt. He's got a couple of cool t-shirts. The Red Panty Night, the Snake in the Grass for TJ Dillashaw. Cory Reynolds, thank you very much. Garrett Roche, good luck on the event this weekend. Really hope to make it out Friday, at least to the weigh-ins, and get maybe a Facebook Live stream with you. Go over those fights. And to everybody competing this weekend, Andre Belcaris, Steve Zakarakis, friends of the show. Guys, good luck this weekend. I know it's not about luck, but we'll be watching. So, until the next episode, hit the subscribe button, comment if you like, get at me on that trivia question. 3 title fights UFC. What happened? Like and follow me on Facebook and Twitter, SoundCloud and iTunes, YouTube and Instagram. I'll let the music play out a little bit. Amatrix, There Is No Spoon. Check him out on SoundCloud. Alright, till next week. Ciao, Tori.